did this, we didn't have this, and, with all this fixing to come up, I kinda got with the city manager in lines, and he helped me with this, and then I sent it to our attorney, and she's incorporated it into a amendment to our ordinance on alcohol, which y'all have a time to review and see, and give your feedback on it, by next week, but, we definitely needed this for some guidelines, and, I think you'll find that you'll find that in order. But again, it gives you a whole week to look at it, as does the minutes. I'm sorry, in the front of your folder was the organizational and the first meeting minutes of January to review, for those to be accepted, next week.
Maybe I want you to add in there with the alcohol package, and also that makes us compliant, it's not work.
Oh, yes, okay. Yes, with the alcohol package that we approved here, that makes us in compliance, which we weren't before we added this alcohol package, which, which was done last week. Now we are in compliance. Everything is there that needs to be, all the forms have been approved, and so we're finally in compliance with that. Yes. When I talk about the blight tax or the vacancy tax next, as I was taking the people around town today, and I think as many of y'all noticed, most of our buildings are vacant, especially coming through on 280. Everyone there, where things 5 and 10 used to be, all of those buildings on the front, I didn't see anything in any of them. I know that Debbie Willis has her rental agency or whatever that is on the corner. But, you know, at some point, I think we might, y'all, council needs to think about applying a vacancy tax, because if the people are charging too much, or they're not keeping their property up, our downtown area looks really bad. Those stores look really bad. People's got a lot of junk stored in them, and it just, you know, applying a vacancy tax, I think is the only way I can think of to make somebody do something with their property. There's people that wanna rent it, they're not gonna clean it up and do everything. These people need to keep their property clean, and I think that's one way we can do it. We tried with the dilapidated properties, you know, and that's one way to work, and we can go that way, but the vacancy tax would also bring in money for the city, which is desperately needed. So just something for you to think about for next week's meeting. And then on this comprehensive solid waste plan, if I'm correct, Nettie, I just need to sign that, right?
Yes, it's our comprehensive waste plan with the county. Where's the last one? We just need to sign it saying that we're gonna keep everything as is, with the county's whole compliance.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I will sign that, and we'll get that sent where it needs to go. And after, following that, we have the, water initiative. Now, this is something new, and I was I'm sure y'all probably read it by now, but when, Chad Hofstetter called me about it, I thought, wow, is this great? I really did. So I called some of the other cities around, the small cities, and just to see how it was working. Savannah wants to truck water here, clean water. They don't have enough storage, and they are sending it to, and all the money that is, you can get from $5,000 to $15,000 a month. And the water's tested here by Rodney, and Rodney can add anything to this he likes when I finish, because he probably knows more about it than me. But I spoke with these small cities, and they say that the water they've had no problems, and they are getting their $15,000 a month, which is put straight to water and sewer, and can only be spent by water and sewer. And I think that's wonderful. I mean, and Rodney will keep a check on it to make sure that the water's fine. He'll test it all when it gets here. And Rodney, is there any way you can expand on that more than what I've said?
Yeah, as long as we can stay within our parameters of our permit.
Right.
And I don't actually do the testing daily. We have,
Okay.
actually does it every month. As long as we stay within our parameters, and I wanna look at the first load that comes in and make sure everything looks copacetic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea.
Just put in our wastewater
Yes,
treatment
ma'am.
plant,
Yes,
deal
ma'am.
out.
Yes, ma'am. That's a lot of revenue for the city.
it's a lot to come in for $15,000 a month, you know, and, I mean, and y'all could sure use it, I mean.
The only thing, I never did talk to Chad, I never did get that far with him, where it's coming from, actually, what is the right of, you know what I'm saying, what it's coming off, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he said it was clean water, and like you said, you called back, Steve, and
I
they
have,
said
and
that
I've
they were
spoken
going
with
direct
them.
to them.
They just want more, I mean, they're bringing it loads of it, so, just a really good way, I say, I mean, we'll wait on it next week, but, he would have started last week if I could have told him yes, but you know, I hate to wait, but we'll wait and get a vote on that, that it'll all have to be used by water and sewer, it's only for them and nothing else, which is fine, we can certainly use that, and, let's see, the mobile home, mobile home permits, I hope I put that in, so, anyway, yeah, here we go. Last week we had we just have a building permit normally, and we had a big mess up with a trailer last week, and, so I went in and made a mobile home permit based on what is required to move a mobile home permit. So this will now be used next week if everybody votes on it, which we didn't have one just for mobile homes. And this requires the name of the owner and renter, it requires the, where's the moved from, if it's new, the license company moving, the manufacturer, the year, the decal, everything that you need to move a trailer is on this form. We didn't have it before, so hopefully we can vote that in next week. And everybody has a chance to look at it.
What will it cost to getting this permit?
Well, they already have to pay, to move a mobile home is $75. This is just
So
a,
this
it's,
is concurrent on that?
yes, it's already, that's what we're charging already. We're using the work permit instead of having a mobile home permit removal. So this is all it is, it's just a form. It's not changing anything that the charter or ordinance says. We just didn't have a form for a mobile home, so I made one based on what the charter says.
Is this gonna resolve the issue where we have mobile homes being placed?
Well,
Or
there's,
they're not?
what I told the person and what was on the new application form that y'all approved last month is that the mobile home permits, as I told this gentleman, which we had to do a cease and desist letter, then we had to recall it. But, we were right and he was right, he was given this permit back in November, but he moved the trailer into a R1 zone, which it shouldn't have been there. Then come to find out, he actually owned the two homes in front of it, which really still didn't matter, but Devin had signed, the last code inspector gave him permission to move it into a non-trailer zone. So I had to uphold it. He done paid us $268. I didn't have any choice.
Was there a trailer there before?
No, there was no trailer there before. He moved it from, I don't know where he moved it from, but he came in here before, in November, last November, and got a permit. And then he comes in here to move it, and I just immediately stopped him, because Gerald Reese saw him moved it, and I knew that wasn't the area, so we stopped him, and with a letter by Duane. And then later, he called me, and, we talked, and I had to honor it. Although I didn't have the paperwork from Devin, I didn't have it, I had to honor it. He had the receipts and the paperwork, so I had to honor it, so it's there, but I told him it wouldn't happen again. He's fixing to move a third one, but it won't happen that way again. It'll be in a trailer permitted zone, and he'll fill out this paperwork, and it'll go through the zoning committee. That's what's supposed to happen, and I explained that to him, and he was fine with that. He said he just did what he was told, and I said, well, next time he won't get by with that, so he understands. And then the next part will be going into executive session for, when we have some property to talk about next week. Somebody wants to buy us here, or somebody, anyway, we'll talk about that next week, but, basically that's, does anybody up here have anything they want to ask or say before we go to the citizens?
I just wanna remind everybody about the airport ground opening tomorrow at 1:30. They're doing a groundbreaking for their new terminal at the Reidsville Airport. And we will be presenting them with plaques in honor of Mr. David and, Mr. Bobby that passed away in the airplane crash in Claxton a while back, on behalf of the city of Reidsville. So if anybody
change, are we gonna have to have it read twice before it's adopted?
I don't think so, because it's not a, charter change, it's just an ordinance.
It's an amendment to the ordinance.
It's an
I thought the ordinance still had to be read.
It's just an amendment to the ordinance.
They were adding, we are adding to the ordinance, so, it would,
Can you check on that and
I will check
verify
on that, I will verify.
If we need to read it and, I think, what, twice and then
Okay.
vote.
All right, is there any comments from the citizens out there today?
What ordinance are you speaking of? That was
The
a-
alcohol license,
Oh, okay.
the alcohol license ordinance, we didn't have the right forms and the forms that we needed.
I got you.
So that's what that was all about. We just made, an addendum to the ordinance. It states what we're supposed to have, we just didn't have them. So now-
Also, we had previously voted through referendum as to certain changes to the alcohol ordinance, and they had never been implemented, so what this does, it also includes those.
Specifically, we had to add a privacy policy to it
Yeah,
that tells them that, hey, we're sending you to go get your fingerprints done, and you have a right to privacy, even after we get the results done, and we have a right to maintain your privacy through the process. And we had to put another letter in that says, if for some reason after their fingerprints are obtained, and they are denied or have to go through a process, we give them a process to appeal the decision to revoke their ability to get a permit.
which is the form I did and added to it. So that's in there also. So I think we're covered everything we need on the alcohol thing. We're in compliance, we're covered with that. And whether or not we have to read it again, I didn't change the ordinance, I just added a amendment to it. So I didn't think that whatever y'all decided, it didn't change the ordinance, it was just an amendment to the ordinance. That's what it was. Any other questions? Okay, so, Mayor?
I got one. On the vape thing, what kind of license do they have on vape shops? That's something to be addressed.
Nobody's come to me about a vape shop, license yet,
But-
and, I don't really know, did we ever decide on
We
that?
did, remember when last year, we had previously sent a cease and desist letter to the vape shop. Their attorney contacted me and said it's regulated through the state, it is regulated through the state. And so there's nothing, on a municipal basis, we do to regulate it.
Okay,
But
so
you can't, I'm not talking regular, I'm talking about a permit, some kind of license.
It'd be
I
the
mean,
same-
he got state license, but they don't have a city.
Yeah, they're just asking about a vape, the vape permit, do they need a vape permit from us?
They would need a business license like any other business would.
So it's just gonna be a business.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, and then Ms. Luann is saying that they have a business license, so that covers it.
Okay, thank you.
Didn't know that either, Mr. Curtis, thank you. Anybody else?
I just, Andre Carr, the one and only. Listen, let's go back to your blight thing.
Okay?
You was talking about the building. I do a lot of looking all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and whoever owns the building can get some warning or something, because buildings are cracking too, So
Oh,
when
I'm
you look-
giving them warnings.
Yeah, when you look at them cracking buildings, y'all remember the incident happened around here, right across the street over here, where the building started falling, it's falling down. And, more people beginning to walk now, because they got McDonald's, walking back and forth. And, you never know, some fall down and, boom, first thing you know, it's big news, because they want to blame it on the city, instead of the owner of the building.
No, what I'm trying to do is, I started when I first came in here, I asked for, part of my campaign was to clean the city up.
Right.
And, because of all the dilapidated properties we have, and I didn't get any names, so I decided I'd start downtown. I can't do every business at one time. I just started, and I'm gonna go all the way around. I'm not treating anybody any different. I don't know how long this process will take, but all I'm gonna do is send them a letter, or I'll get our attorney to send them a letter and just ask them, you know, to please clean your property up. It's unsightful, it's, you know, it's not, we don't want our town to look like this. Take care of your property, that's what I wanna send it out. I'll put a letter in the paper if I have to clean your property up, you know, or I'm gonna start sending you fines or letters or whatever I can do legally. But, you know, our downtown area really has to be cleaned up. These empty buildings piled full of all kind of junk. I mean, we're never gonna get any stores in there unless these people clean them up, and that's where I was talking about the vacancy of lot tax, is charging them after so many warnings if they don't do it. I mean, I'm not gonna charge them if I can, I'm gonna give them several warnings, but, you know, they're just not willing to rent them, but yet they leave them looking so bad, and our town's never gonna get any better unless somebody does something about it, so it has to start somewhere. And,
But we do have a process that
We do.
we've been
Right.
doing, as far as giving them
yeah, they get
their
warnings.
warnings and their first notices and
Right.
second notices and all that. We have been doing that, Dewey's been doing that for a while now.
And that's the process, yeah, with Mr. Burns. that we
Right.
had on.
Yeah, that's why it's taken so long with Mr. Burns on this other property is we worked through all the legal processes we've had to work through on that.
And I know it'll take a long time, that's why I just take two, you know, I just picked out two, you know, and it was nothing, I didn't know who owned them till I looked them up, but I did give the addresses, which will know where to write the letters, if people agree to do that. I did go that far and find out who owned them, but there's 4 or 5 on the road going to my house that are completely deserted, and I hadn't seen anybody in them for years. So that's gonna be next on the list, you know, but I wanna clean up downtown Reidsville, and we talked about that a lot today with these people here helping us with the grants, was one of the projects, one of 3 we talked about funding, was with our downtown area. But, we'll get more into that next week, and when they come back on March the 11th with, the presentation of what we talked about to show y'all, it's gonna be a kind of a quick turnaround. This money that they're trying to get for us, it's gonna happen quickly. If we get it, it's gonna be quick, because the money runs out soon, so they have to get rid of it. And they walked away today, and I think everybody that was with me today would agree that they were just astounded by what they saw in Reidsville when we took them to our sewer plants, our water, the flood zones, the streets, our walkways, the stores. Every place we took them, they were just snapping pictures right and left. So I felt really good about what time we spent with them today wasn't wasted, which was from 10 o'clock till 3:30. You know?
How is that, if you get the funds, how is that gonna affect the USD that we already have in process?
As far as I know, it shouldn't be detrimental to it at all.
Will we stop that?
No,
No.
no.
That will
We
continue.
can't stop the
and then-
USDA because
That's what I
we've
thought.
got EPA
No, this-
mandate.
Well, I thought that, but I was just wondering if, you know,
No, these
if
are,
they
these
had
are,
funds for that, then how would that conflict?
no, these are actually, like I said, we're not doing anything to compromise anything we already have. These are just, and this isn't a grant, these are completely free. I mean, we owe nothing, this grant is nothing, it's, we don't have to pay anything. If we provide the paperwork they need, and do the grants write-up, which we're doing, and we will have them ready in March, then they decide who gets the money. They send it on up, they'll be doing a plan, and somebody else is working on this part. It'll come together quick, it's not gonna take like a year or 6 months. I mean, we'll know something, whether or not we're selected for one of our projects or all 3 of them, you know. We'll know soon, and that they move pretty fast, and then it'll be our part to start, you know, getting everything in line. But they monitor the money. There's one person over this that's monitors the money, and then I have to sign a whole bunch of stuff making me responsible for it. But I'm glad to take that on, no matter how much it is, whether it's 10 million or 2 million. I mean, you know, it'll be used the right way always, for whatever it is, if it's, whether it's water and sewer, or whether it's flooding, whatever it is, it'll be used in that area only. It was a lot of time with them today, and I learned a lot, and, I think they've been away with a good feeling, knowing that we need a lot of help in the city. Yes, ma'am.
Where are we on the Burns property and the other, I think it was the Collins property, this White House down the
The
street?
White House will be coming, let me say one thing before I forget, I'll pick up the White House just a second. The Dollar General, I have been on that for so much, I contacted Matthew Morrow, he told me, and I made him just about promise me, that he says 12th, which is next Monday. He will start on that and finish it. We finally got the holdup done, we got that taken care of, and, he says, I'll be there on the 12th, so we will see. In the White House, okay, that's Carmen's, they unhooked the electrical from it this past week, and the lady, the man that's gonna be taking it down, I talked to his wife, and she said she thought that they were gonna move it one day this week. But they're supposed to let me know 2 days ahead of time where I can set up the right, the people out there to make sure everything goes right, the police or fire, whatever we may need to make sure that all that stuff goes back. They're supposed to be taking it down from the back and going toward the road, going back. But we'll have it all turned off. We'll have people out there to watch and make sure everything goes well. Hopefully this week that house will start to go down, hopefully.
And the Burns project?
The Burns, I don't really know how much longer, I don't know.
We have until August 27th to take action on it. It's my understanding that Mr. Burns spoke with the mayor and
He sure did, I forgot.
some
I'm
members
sorry.
of the council,
He
and
did.
as said, he's gonna be taking down the windows, I think, in the flooring. Is that-
Yeah, he said as soon as he got his windows out, and maybe there was one or two other little things, but he told me, I think it was 4 weeks, I believe he said at the time, and that was like 2 weeks ago or whenever I don't know.
2 weeks
But
ago.
anyway, he should, he's got till August, if he doesn't do it, there's nothing I can do about it, but he said in a matter of weeks, so I hope it'll be, sometime this month anyway.
He's had the electrical removed, he's had the gas removed, he's had Rodney cut the water off. They're gonna disconnect sewer when he tears the building down and cap off on the city side. He's removed the roof and most of the flooring and stuff out of it. He's waiting to, get someone to come and get the glass out of the windows, rather than bust the glass and have glass everywhere, and then he'll start taking the brick down. That's what he told me.
So with that one in the white building, that's 2 gone from downtown, that'll be really nice not to have to look at anymore. And then we'll keep going, and as long as it takes.
Duane, do we have any other that have been put on the list? That we
We've
don't
got
have?
several that have been put on the list that are kind of just sitting there, and I need to know from the council what we want to do with it, so I'll bring the list next week.
Okay.
And we can kind of get an update about what y'all want to do with it.
Was anything put on there about, I think it's Holton's Pawn Shop? It was on there one time.
That was a property that I'd give you.
Yeah, I knew it was on there one time.
If it
I
was
didn't know
on there
where
one time,
Cause
no.
I don't think they're doing anything. I don't, you might have noticed, I don't know.
Right, yeah, that was one of the properties that I gave you before.
The first time, yeah.
And I wanna mention too, those of us that live in my district, Ward 1, we've done a lot of cleanup there. Some of those old houses, I can name at least 3 now that's been torn down or,
Well, there's been a lot of work done, no question about it, since
Yeah.
we started the project.
Yeah,
And there's lots more to do.
lots more to do.
Learn to go slow, but we'll get it, eventually,
If y'all see something, let us know, give me a call, I'll put it on the list.
yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, is it possible to have a publication of council people's contact, maybe email or
Yeah,
some
I
phone
could.
number that?
Oh, that's another thing, the website. I finally learned how to use it, last week, and actually, we all learned how to use it, nobody knew how to use it, except to put an alert on it. So it's updated, with everybody's names, and, this Friday, we're having another class, we'll be able to put pictures up there. Everybody's name and email address is on there, and you can go down and find all of Rodney's people, his email. All the minutes and agendas have been loaded for 22, and I think she started on 23. But I'll start with mine immediately, starting with 24, and then they'll fill in the others. When we have a little girl that's coming Friday that's gonna do that for us. And, we're gonna have that website up and running as soon as I figure out how to put pictures on there. We're gonna do pictures too, and hopefully she'll show me Friday. And you just click on whatever department you want right now, and you can see that it's been updated with the right people, their emails. I didn't put their personal phone numbers, but this phone number's on there. And like when we're gone for a weekend, we'll leave and send you an alert that you know, if something happens with your pipes or whatever, who's on call and who to call. Well, you'll have that, I'll make sure that that's done. So, it's actually starting to work, and hopefully we can have it all loaded up and done by this Friday. So, and I plan to put this on there, you know, tomorrow if I have time. And,
I don't mind, but I guess to each his own, you know, but we can put our numbers on there in case somebody.
yeah, I mean, and, you know, if you want, you know, I didn't put their home numbers,
I
but,
don't
you know,
mind, but.
that, you know, they need, I mean, you are the council person, so I guess they need your phone number, they wanna call, if there's something happens in your area, that, you know, I've been getting a lot of calls, you know, but, I mean, I don't mind, I mean, you know, I usually can handle it.
Put my cell phone on there.
Okay, but I, you know, I mean, they got mine from somewhere, I don't know where, but they got them, but anyway. It's
Small
fine.
town.
Yeah, it's a small town, yeah, it's a small town, but, it's okay. But we're doing, I think we're doing pretty good, you know, it's been a month for me, and, I've learned a whole lot, there's a whole lot that goes on in here, and, you know, and I really need a finance person, y'all, I'm sorry to say we haven't even had an applicant, you know, and, this is the second week that I've had it in the paper. I think Rodney said he had two. I've got two possibility for a code inspector, but there's none that nobody has applied for the finance position, and we may have to spread it out farther to, Claxton by day or somewhere, I don't know. I thought about going to the tech schools maybe and seeing somebody graduate, or to the colleges, if anybody's in the county or budget, maybe coming out that might want that, you know, might be interested in the job. I don't have a contact in Statesboro, you know, really that I could ask, but I could probably find one. But I've reached out to all cities, trying to get them to help me find someone, and, but if y'all know of anybody that you can reach out to that has budget accounting experience, I could sure use them. I really could use them in here. There's a lot to do with the budget coming up, and I hope next week, next, our department heads get here, I want them to start getting with their council person and preparing their budget. I wanna do it a little ahead of time to make sure we get it in on time, and see where we are last year versus where we are this year, but we can start with the budget and the millage rate things ahead of time. So, as far ahead of time as I can, but I'm just trying to stay on top of everything, and y'all please help me if I forget something. But,